Can you explain how school districts use prisoners to secure funding?
Oh man, how can I explain when I talked about earlier the super predator theory, the influx of young people being adjudicated from the juvenile sector into the adult sector. Now you have an influx of young people. And when it was just primarily black and brown young people, there wasn't no, there wasn't any legislative effort to stop these things from occurring or to address these things when they did occur, right? Uh, until the year of 1997. Now imagine I've already been in prison a little over 3 years. It's like July of 1997. There was a incarcerated white youth. Now young white people are getting caught up in this dragnet of the super predator theory because some of their crimes or their offenses is falling in the same category. Now they're being adjudicated from juvenile to adult sector. And now you have white young boys who are in a cell with grown men. And when their families found out, they start to write their representatives. They knew exactly what to do. They're reaching out to their senators, their legislature, and they end up getting the rules changed where they said anyone who's underneath the age of 18 in the state of Washington, regardless of where they are, they need to get pulled from those locations into this other prison environment location, which was where I initially went to. I told you when I was 13 was Washington Correction Center. They placed us there in the R units. We was in R unit 3, I believe it was, and we was with the adults, but they was going to take that whole unit and make it for juveniles. At that particular time, Column Bay, they were in their school district. They were getting ready to lose their federal and state funding because they had the highest dropout rate in the state of Washington. Per capita, they're one of the smallest counties, but they had the highest dropout rate, which was like about 200% at this time. So because of that, they was going to lose their federal and state funding. They were able to secure their federal and state funding by bringing us into the prison population, but they was able to administratively sign us up for the existing high school that was, neighboring the prison. So now you have 200 people that secured your state and your federal funding, and now administratively it secures everyone as well in terms of their jobs. We became, we already become job security for the prison culture, the prison population as far as guards, their administration and other different staff. But now for the actual city that the prison is in, and that hires most of the people in terms of that city, as far as guards and other admin people, we were able to secure funding for the resources that go into those communities. And when I found out about this, I thought I was like, wow, they can't count me on the census in my community to secure resources, but they was able to count me on a census of someone else's community to actually secure resources. And it says a lot about our system and how it actually works. Just for an example, annually, the prison system makes about $2.9 billion just off of phone calls and commissary purchases.
Phone
2.9
calls and
billion.
commissary? Just off of phone calls and commissary?
Just off of phone calls and ordering commissary.
Are they still, but before you continue, are they still overcharging like Verizon and all them? Because weren't they doing like $10 a minute?
Yeah, prison calls
a
are
minute,
always overcharged.
$20 a minute?
Yeah.
They're still doing that?
Yeah, of course. You got over 4,000.
That's not illegal yet?
You have over 4,000 companies that are inside of the prison. So they're making a lot of money. So everything you
That's
think
crazy.
about that
Continue.
allows a prison to function, you have over 4,000 companies inside of different prisons. And that's not talking just about, that's talking about the public sector prisons. We're in jails. We're not talking about the private sector, where it takes about 3.9 billion just to keep the private sector going. And annually for the public sector is $80.7 billion to keep the public sector. So of course they want to get a return on their investment. Just for example, let's just think about it right now. In order to incarcerate a person in the state of Washington, it's about $63,626 annually.
That's wow, bro. How much they spending on the students? 12, 15?
Man, I don't know what they spending on. We ain't seeing it.
That's usually the sweet spot, about 12,
I'm just
15,
saying.
maybe
Listen,
8,
they ain't spending
8 to 12. That's crazy.
I know when I was working in doing work in the community and working with young folks who got IEPs, right? Who are considered, with IEPs, they're supposed to give them like a $10,000 extra support. So let's say if the average person in school, in high school, they probably spend $14,000, right? And then you add, if a person has some issues, they'll give you an extra $10,000, but they're not getting a better education though. But you mean to
Not
tell
at all.
me
They're not getting,
you rather
I taught for
spend
years in Philadelphia.
$14,000
I taught for years in
on
Philadelphia,
a person's
so I know.
education, but right now, like I said, it's about $63,626 annually. When I was in prison, it was anywhere from, I'll say 32 to 36 by the time I left. So if you just look at 33,000, they spent over $676,500 to keep me incarcerated. The annual loss for somebody who was incarcerated, potential earned wages, is over $500,000.